Hi guys, welcome to Potential WebCode. In this video, I will show you how to create responsive online food delivery dashboard. I also have another project for food delivery that you can find on the description below. So let's start with the demo. Here you can see on the left side, I have sidebar. This sidebar contains logo on the top and also 6 menus with icon and also the title of the menu. Every time I hover the menus, the background color will be changed to yellow color. And also on the bottom is logout menu, with the same behavior with the previous menu. Next, moving to right side, I have search part here. In text input, there is placeholder text, what you want to eat. Here, I tried to typing cheeseburger. Next, here I have search button, and when I hover on this button, the background color will change to dark green. In addition, when I hover on this search part, there is a shadow appear on the background of search. Now on the right side, I have 2 buttons, shopping cart and profile icon, and there is shadow when I hover on this. Next, move on, there is recommendation part here. You can see the background color is yellow. There is title here. And icon backward and forward here. This backward and forward will be function on mobile view. Later I will show you how. In this recommendation part, there are 4 cards of foods. Each card contains image of food, name of food, and also price. And when I'm hover on one of this card, the background is lighter than when I'm not hover on it, and there is some shadow on the background. Next, move down below. This contains 2 parts. The top is list of category menus, and below is list of food. Let's start with this top part first. There is title here, and icon forward and backward that have similar function with recommendation. I will show you later on mobile view. Now, on this right part, it has 8 cards of menu categories. Each of cards has icon and text. Here, when I hover on this cards, the background around icon changes to white, and the background around text changes to dark green, and the text color also changed to white. Here, I have line to separate between menu category and list of food. Below this line, there is title of foods here. Next, here, I have few cards that contain list of foods. Each card has image, title of food, detail of food, price, and also bookmark. When I hover on one of this card, the image become more brighter. The color of title changed to dark green, and the price has spacing between the characters. And there is also additional shadow on below of card. This hover effect also happens on other cards. Now, let's check the mobile view. Here, I will shrink the width, and it will become mobile view. You can see that the sidebar disappear on the small view. And the burger menu appear on the corner of this navbar. When I click on this burger menu, the sidebar will appear again. And when I click one of the menus, the sidebar will be hidden. The rest on the navbar side remain the same, like search part, shopping cart and user icon. Now for recommendation part. You can see that the menu not showing all on this current mobile view. So, this is the function of the forward and backward icon. When I click on those icon, the menu that currently hidden will be shown from left or right. On this menu category, all of menus currently not showing on this screen. The icon forward and backward on menu category also have same function like on the recommendation. They will show the previous or next of menu category that currently hidden. Next, you can also see on this view screen the list of food, only showing one in a row. But when I expand the width screen more, there is 2 foods on the row. And when I do it more wider, the foods will show 3 in a row. And the sidebar also appear. Finally, I am done showing you the demo. This demo will be the goal of this current food delivery project. So, let's start build this wonderful project. Okay, so, let's start. Here I already opened my code editor. I am using Visual Studio Code. You can see on the left side, I have images folder. It contains all of the images that I will use on this tutorial. I also have HTML file and CSS file. Now I will start with HTML file. I will use the HTML template first by typing doc and press tab. On title, I will change it to Responsive Food Delivery Services version 2. For your information, you can find another projects of food delivery services website on my another videos. Next, I will link the CSS file on this HTML file. Make sure the name of the CSS file that you add to the HTML is same with the file name on the left side. Now I need to add Google font to this HTML file. I am going to Google Fonts. I will use Open Sans font. And add for regular 400 and semibold 600. Now, I will copy this part and paste to the HTML file. Done. Google font already include on this HTML. I also want to add some icon library using ion icon to this HTML. I'm searching ionic.io. I will copy this part of script and paste it to HTML file. Now I already done adding some of the link to HTML. Now I will try to check the browser by typing test on the body part. Here, the text test will appear on the browser. Next, let's move on to CSS file. I will define some colors that I will use repeatedly later. So let's define it inside root. Inside this root, I will define 7 colors. I start with define the primary color. The color is dark green. And next I define yellow color as secondary color. I also set white color, black color, soft green color, that I will use this later on for background color of main section. By the way, you can adjust the color code based on what you like. I also defined 2 different of gray color here. Dark gray color and gray color itself. Now it's time to reset the CSS. Let's set margin to 0, padding to 0, box sizing to border box, outline to none, and set the font family to Open Sans. Now move to body section. I will set width to 100%, height to auto, and display to flex. Based on all of this configuration, here is the result on the browser. There is no margin and padding before the text, and the font already changed to Open Sans. Now let's begin to code like the demo. I will delete this test text. Next, I will create the structures by set it as comment. So you will know what I will create first. I will divide it into two sections, sidebar part and main part. I will create div with sidebar as class name. On sidebar, I will split it into three parts. On the top part is logo. On the middle is list of menus. And on bottom is logout part. I will use heading 1 for logo, so I type h1. And set class to logo. Also, let's name this project as food time. Now, on the list of menus, let's add div, and name it sidebar-menus. Inside this div, I will add link to each of the menus by adding a, and set the ref to hash, and following with icon from icon. To load the icon, I set it through the name. You can see that I set the name to storefront-outline, because I wanted to call store icon. If you wanted to know more about the other icons, you can read the documentation of icon on their website, and the first menu as home. Next, I will add more menus and load different type of the icons. I will add second menu as bills. So I add icon library that representative icon for bills. Third, I will add wallet menu. So here, I add icon from icon that represent the wallet icon. Next, I add icon of bells. So, it can help to represent the menu of notification. Next, I add icon of chat bubble. I think this icon can help to represent the Contact Us menu. Last thing, I will add icon of settings. This is for settings menu. Because I already have all of the menus and logo here. Let's check how it looks like on the browser. Here, you can see the logo, food time, and following with 6 list of menus with representative icons. Let's move on to logout part. It's kinda similar with sidebar menus. I will set the div class to sidebar-logout. And inside this, I will add the link. And add icon of icon. With name log-out-outline. And text logout. Here are the results of the logout. All of HTML script for sidebar is already done. Next, I need to set style for each part of them, so the result would be the same as the demo. In CSS file, I will start to styling the sidebar. By type.sidebar, curly brackets, I set the height of sidebar to 100%, and make the width only 250 pixel. I use flex on this sidebar, and change the direction to column. Make the justify content to space between, so 3 parts of the sidebar will set on the top, middle and bottom with right space among them, because I want to make this sidebar not moving. When I scroll down the content, I will set the position to fixed, and make sure it stay on left side of view by set top to 0 and left to 0. Now I want to change the sidebar color to green. That already defined as primary color before. And I will set the font color to white as I defined before as a white color. Now, let's see the result of styling the sidebar on the browser. Here we go. The sidebar already appear on the left side of the view, with background color is green. Let's back to HTML file again. Next, I will set up the sidebar menus. In this sidebar dash menu, I only set the display to flex and flex direction to column. You can see that the list of menus already changed from row order to column order. Next, let's styling this link menus. Inside this, I will set padding 5% and 8%. It means I set padding top and bottom to 5% and padding left and right to 8%. I also set the margin top and bottom to 0.5 rem. Next, set the display to flex. Align items to center and justify content to flex start. And also gap to 1 rem. So, the icon and the description menu will show in line, but have gap between them. I also set the text decoration to none, so there is no underline on the menu, and set the font color to white color. Here is the result of styling menu on the browser. The icon and name of menu appear perfectly on the sidebar. I wanted to make the icon of menus quite bigger, so let's add font size of this icon. So, inside this icon, I set the font size to 20 pixel. Now, you can see the icon of this menu is bigger than before. Currently, there is no effect when I hover on the menus. I will add some effect when cursor hover on them. So, inside this sidebar menus, hover. I set background color to yellow color, or I already define as secondary color. And also add border radius to 50 pixel. Here the result, when I hover on each menu. The background color changed to yellow. Last thing that need to be styling on this sidebar part is sidebar logout. Cause this sidebar logout will have the same behavior. With previous menu, I just need to add .sidebar logout here, so the styling will same with the sidebar menus. Here, the logout menu already implement the same style with sidebar menu. Here, I also add the sidebar logout icon, so the icon will become bigger. Lastly, for the hover effect, I will also add sidebar logout in this line, so the hover effect between sidebar menus and sidebar logout will be same. Now, I will continue to work on this white part as I name it this part as main. So, let's back to HTML file. Below this main comment, I add div and set class name to main. I will split this main to 3 parts. Main navbar that contains search bar and shopping cart. Main highlight contains highlight of specific food. And last one is main menu that contains list of all food. Let's start with main navbar. I will set class of this div as main-navbar. Cause this project is also responsive, that support mobile view. I will add burger button that will only appear on mobile view and hide on desktop view. So, I call icon and set the class name as menu-toggle. Name of icon for the burger menu is menu-outline. Next I will create search bar part. I set div with class name as search. Inside it, I add input with type text. And set the placeholder to what you want to eat. I also add button and name the class as search-btn. and add wording search on the button. Now, let's move on to right part of Navbar. There are two icons: shopping cart and profile. So, I add div with class name as profile. First, I add link with class name as cart. And call an icon name as cart outline to represent the cart icon. And last, I will set a link with class name as user, and call an icon of user. Let's see what the main navbar looks like on browser. You can see all of them currently appear on the left side, and they are huddled up with sidebar. So, let's styling the main first before styling the main navbar. On this main, I will set the width to 100% and set the height to max content. I also set padding for it, 2%. Change the background color to soft green. I will set the left margin to 250 pixel, so it not collapse with sidebar. So, here what it looks like on the browser. Cause I set the height to max content before. You can see that there is part that has background color soft green and white. This is because the content on the main only available on this top part, cause I want to set the main to full height. Without thinking how long the content are, I will add one more styling to the main. Here, I will add min height and set it to 100 viewport height. Now, the main already on the full height. Next, let's jump to styling main navbar. I will just set display to flex. With justify content is space between and align items is center. You can see that this changed the position of the content on the main navbar, and there are space among them. Here, you can see the burger button. I already name it as menu toggle. So, let's hide this menu toggle by set display to none. Now, on the browser, the burger icon already disappear. Next, let's styling the search part. In this search part, I will set the width to 60% and height 40px. I also set the display to flex and set justify content to space around. So, the input and button inside this search part will be appear end to end of the area. I also set the background color to white color, and make the border little bit round by set border radius to 20px. Here what the search part looks like on the browser. Now let's styling the input. I set the width of input to 80% of search part, so the rest will be for button. I also set the height to 100%, so the input will cover all of the height of search part. Next, I set padding to 20 pixel, border to none and border radius to 20 pixel. You can see on this browser, the view between the input type and search part is kindly merge. Let's styling the search btn now. For search button, I will set the background color to yellow, or I already named it as secondary color. I also set the font color to white. Remove border by set border to none. Set the border radius to 20 pixel. This button will have width 120 pixel, and also set the cursor to pointer. Here is the result of styling search button. Currently, when I hover on this search part and button, there is no effect applied on it, so let's go back to CSS file and add some effect when hover. I will start to add effect on search part. I will add box shadow to the search part. Now, on this browser, you can see shadow will appear when I hover on this search part. Next, for search button effect when hover, let's set background color to primary color or dark green. You can see the background color of button change from yellow to dark green when I hover on it. Styling search part already complete. Now, let's continue to styling profile. On this profile, I will set display to flex, align items to center, and set gap between content 0.5 rem. Now, let's styling cart and user together. I will start by set display to flex, justify content to center and align items to center. I also set background color for this to content to white. I set the font size to 20 pixel, so the icon of SH, open cart and user will be quite bigger. I also changed the color of the icon to primary color. I also set text decoration to none. Padding right and left to 10 pixel. Height to 40 pixel. And border radius to 50%. Here shopping cart and user look like on the browser. Next, let's add effect for both of them when my cursor hover them. I just add shadow effect for both of them. Here, you can see the shadow now when I hover on them. Finally, the main navbar part is done. Now, let's continue with main highlight. I will start by a div with class name as main highlight. Inside this main highlight, I will create two sections. First, it contains title and backward forward arrow, and the second is the highlight of food menu. Let's start with title part by adding div with class name as main header. Next, I use heading to for the title. I name the class with main title and set the title to recommendations. Now, I will add div for forward and backward by set the div class name to main arrow. Inside this div, I call icon from icon library that represent the backward, and also name the class as back. And I also call the icon for the forward. You can see the title of recommendations, and two icon arrows already appear on the browser. Now, let's start to configure style for the main highlight first. Inside this main highlight, I will add margin top and bottom to 3% and the padding to 2%. I set the background color to secondary color or yellow, and set some round for the border by set border radius to 8 pixel. This is the result of the configuration. Next, move on to main header. For the main header, I set display to flex with width to 100%. I also set the justify content to space between and align items to center, so that the title and the arrow will inline. But one will be located on the left side, the other will be on the right side. You can see the result here. Next, let's styling the main title. Let's move on to main arrow. For the main title, I only need to set the font size to 20 pixel. Now, let's move on to main arrow. Inside this main arrow, I also only set the font size to 24 pixel. So, forward and backward icon will be bigger than before. From previous HTML, I already set the name for icon forward and backward to back and next. Now, I will styling this to classes by set cursor to pointer. I also want to add effect when cursor hover on this to icons. The effect will change the icon color to dark green, or I already defined the color as primary color. Let's see. The icon color changed to green when my cursor hover on each of them. The main header is done. Now let's move to the section of highlight menu. I start with add div and name the class as highlight wrapper. Inside it, I add div again with class highlight card. This highlight card will contain image, title of food and price of food. So first I add image and name the class as highlight-img and insert the image of salad from images folder. Next, I add div with class is highlight-desk. There will be title and price inside this. So, I start by use heading for, and set the title to fresh salad. Next, I use paragraph for the price. This is what it looks like on the browser. The image currently appear to big cause this is the real size of the image. I will styling it later, so the image will not outside. Here also the title and the price. Let's start styling the highlight wrapper. Inside this highlight wrapper, I set the width to 100%. Display to flex, padding to 1%. I also set the border to little bit round by set the border radius to 8 pixel. Cause I want to give space between the content inside the highlight wrapper. I set the gap to 1.5 rem. And I also make sure the horizontal scroll bar will be hidden by set overflow X to hidden. Now, let's also styling the highlight card. Inside this highlight card, I set display to flex. Flex direction to row. I set the minimum width of this card to 200 pixel. So the card width will not shrink below 200 pixel. I also set the width to 80% and height to 100%. I wanted to set gap between content of image and description this card. I set the gap to 1 rem. I also set the border radius to 8 pixel. Padding to 1%. Background color to gray color. And set cursor to pointer. Next, let's also styling the highlight-img. In this highlight-img, I set width and height to 40 pixel. And set the border radius to 8 pixel. I also set the object fit to cover and object position to center. So, The image on this div will be on the center and cover all of the div. Now, here the result of styling highlight wrapper, highlight card and highlight img. Next, let's styling the highlight desk. So, here in heading for of highlight desk, I set font color to primate color. You can see color title of the food already changed to dark green. Next, let's styling the price. So here, I set the font color to black color and resize the font size to 13 pixel. Now, I already built one card, let's add another card. So here, I start by adding div with class name as highlight card, and following by adding img with class name as highlight menu. In here, I will load the coffee image. This coffee image is from images folder that you can see from the left side. I also add the description inside highlight desk by adding heading for title of cafe latte and paragraph for the price. So here, I already have 2 cards of food recommendation. Next, I will add third card, so like to previous card. I will start by a div for highlight card, and following by img with class name as highlight img and connect it with image of steak in images folder. Next, I add div of highlight desk and add heading for and set the title to premium steak. Also add price of it. Here what it looks like on browser. I have steak card with image and description. So next, let's add the last card for this recommendation section. Start with adding highlight card and add image of burger on div highlight ing.next. Adding highlight desk with title using heading for and name it as Big Burger, and also adding the price. Now, the last of recommendation food already add here. Next, I wanted to add some effect when I hover on each of the food recommendation card. So here, on CSS file, I add highlight card hover. Inside here, I set the background color to white color and set shadow on the card. Now, you can see when I hover on this card, the card color will be lighter than before, and there is shadow appear on the side of card. Next, let's move on to main menu and order list. So, here I add div with class name as main menus. In this main menus, there will be 2 sections. One is filter section, and another is list of food. Let's start with filter section first. Here, I add div with class name as main filter. Inside here, I add div with no class. And start by add heading to with class name as main title. And set the title to menu category. Next, I add div for arrow by set the class name as main arrow. Here, I add arrow backward first, by load an icon for backward and set the class name to back menus. Next, I add arrow forward. Also by load an icon for forward icon and set the class name to next menu. Here you can see the result on browser, the title and icons. Next, let's create the space for list of menu category card. Here, I start by add div with class name as filter wrapper. And also add div with class name as filter card. Inside this, I add icon and the description, I add the div with class name as filter-icon. And insert an icon class that represent icon all menus. Inside this I add label of icon by naming it as all menus. So here, the icon and the text appear on browser. Next, let's add the second icon and text, so here. I start by a div of filter card, and a div class of filter icon. Inside this I load icon of fast food from an icon library. Next, I have burger as text description. So, here the result. Next, I add third card category. So like previous. I start by a div of filter card and a div of filter icon. Inside this, I add icon of pizza from an icon. And last, adding the text of pizza. Next, I want to add category of beverage. So here, I add div of filter card again, and a div of filter icon. Insert icon of wine. And also add the description. Next, let's add the fifth category menu. I add filter card div, and add div of filter icon after it. Next, add icon of ice cream. And add text of ice cream also. Next, let's add filter card again. Also add filter icon div. Next, I add icon of coffee from an icon library. And also add the text of coffee. Let's add to more menu filter category. So, let's add filter card, and inside it, I add filter icon. Next, add icon of fish that represent the seafood menu. So for the text, I insert the text seafood. Now, for the last menu filter category, let's add the filter card and filter icon like previous menu. Inside it, I add icon of nutrition from an icon. This icon can represent the category menu of healthy. Now, I already add HTML for 8 of menus with icon and text title. All of the icon and the title already appear on this browser. Now, let's styling the main menus. So, inside this main menus, I set min height to 100%. Change the background color to gray color. Set olive padding to 2%. And set border radius to 8 pixel. Here, you can see this area has gray background. And there is padding inside it. Next, I will styling the main filter. Here, I set the width to 100%. Set the display to flex. And flex direction to row. And also set align items to center. I also set margin top to 1.5 rem. And set the space between the content by set gap to 1 rem. Here on the browser, the two parts of content already inline or side by side. Next, for icon forward on backward. The styling kind of similar, with forward on backward on recommendation part, so here I just add cursor to pointer for both of them. And also set the effect when cursor hover on them by change the color to primary color. Next, I will styling the filter wrapper. In this filter wrapper, I set the display to flex. Justify content to flex start. So, the position of card will be start on the left side. I also hide the horizontal scroll bar by set the overflow X to hidden. Set the width to 100% and height to 100 pixel. Next, I add gap between the card by set gap to 1 point to rem. You can see the menu list in line with each other. Next, move on to filter card. For this filter card, I set display to flex. Flex direction to column. Align items to center. And justify content to space around. I also set the min width to 80 pixel. So when the width of view shrink, the card width not shrink below 80 pixel. I also set the height to 100% for the background color. I set to white color and font color to black color. I also set the border radius to 8 pixel. And give border to soft green color. Lastly, set the font size to 14 pixel and cursor to pointer. So, here the area of the card, the icon also appear on top, while the text on the bottom of card. Next, let's styling for icon part. So here, inside filter icon, I set display to flex. Justify content to center. Align items to center. I also set the width to 80% and height to 60%. To make the icon more bigger, I set the font size to 30 pixel. I also changed the background color to soft green color. Set the icon color to primary color and border radius to 8 pixel. So here, you can see the background around icon already changed to soft green and the icon color to dark green. Now, I wanted to add the effect when cursor is pointing on the menu card. So here, I add filter card hover. Inside this I add background color to primary color and font color to white color. You can see when my cursor hover on it, the background around title change from white to dark green. I also add another effect when cursor hover on the card. By change the background color around icon from soft green to white color. Now here, I already done for styling the card menus. Next, I wanted to add line to divide between the menu category and list of food. So here I add HR and set the class name to divider. So here, I set the margin top and bottom to 1 rem, height to 1 pixel, width to 100%, color it to primary color, and set the border to none. Now, you can see the line color already changed to dark green. Let's move on to list of food now. So here, I start by a div with class name as main detail. Inside this, I add heading 2, and set the class name to main title, and add text choose order. Below this title, I add div, and set the class name to detail wrapper. I also add div with class name as detail card. Inside this div, I add image of food, by set the class name to detail-img, and load the image of seafood. You can see the seafood image is from Images folder. Next, I add div for detail of food by set the class name to detail name. Inside it, I add title of food using heading for add description of food using paragraph and set the class name to detail sub. I also add price using the paragraph. Last, I add icon of bookmark on this detail cards and name the class as detail favorite. Here what it looked like on the browser. The image is kinda huge and not fit to the view. And there is also description here. Now, let's start to styling them. I start by styling the main detail first. I only set margin here. And next for the detail wrapper, I use grid for display. And for the grid template columns, I set it by auto fit, by set the min width to 250 pixel for each content or card. I also set the width to 100%, margin top to 1 rem, gap to 2%, and border radius to 8 pixel. Let's also styling the detail card. So, inside here, I set min height to 280 pixel, with height 100%. Put the background color to white color, border radius to 8 pixel, margin top and bottom to 1%. And also give some shadow for the card. And set cursor to pointer. Next, let's also styling the detail imp. So I set the width to 100%, height to 180 pixel. I also set the border radius to this image to 8 pixel. Set the object fit to cover, and object position to center dot to make the image darker. I add filter and set the brightness to 0.8. Here the result from the styling the food card. The card already showing the image and description. Before move on to styling the detail name, I will add one div before this detail name. I set the name of this div to detail desk. I move all of the script here and put it inside detail desk div. Now, let's styling this detail desk. I set the display to flex. Justify content to space between. Giant item to flex start. I also set the padding to 3% and width 100%. Here you can see there is some space between the image and the description, and the bookmark icon already on the right side of card. Now, I will style the detail sub by set the font size to 12 pixel, font color to dark gray color, letter spacing to 0.5, and margin top and bottom to 1%. And for the price, I set the font color to primary color or dark green. For the detail favorite, I want to make the icon of favorite bigger, so I set the font size to 24 pixel. Here, the icon become bigger. Now, I already done add one card of food and already set the style for it. Next, let's add other food list. The structure will be the same with previous card of food that start by a div of detail card. And next, insert the image. And also the description of the food. That include title, subdetail and price. I will repeat each of this step for rest of 5 cards.